Carson Drew speaking.
Hi, Dad.
Well, I see you got to Titusville okay. Carson Drew.
Hi, Dad.
Hello. Did you pick those papers up from the telegraph office? Carson Drew.
Hi, Dad.
Nancy, everything okay? Carson Drew.
Hi, Dad.
Did you pick those papers up yet?
No.
Carson Drew.
Hi, Dad.
Did you pick those papers up yet?
Yep.
It ought to. That's a fine car. You treat it well, it'll treat you well.
I was told that you wanted me to call?
No, everything's fine. I need to get some documents from a colleague over there. I thought since you were in the area, you could pick them up, save him paying postage.
Sure. What's the address?
He said he'd just leave them for you at the telegraph office. Just drive into town and look for Tubby Telegrams. He said you can't miss it.
Will do.
These papers are extremely important, Nancy.
I will pick them up, Dad.
All right, lecture over. Have you found out why Miss Crandall asked you to visit? You've done your daughterly duty. Now go see Emily. And after that...
I know. Pick up those documents.
That's my girl. All right, but in the meantime...
I know. Pick up those documents.
That's my girl. Stole it? Good gosh. The stove exploded? Sounds to me like you'd be well advised to cut your visit there short.
No, I want to find out what's going on. I have to find out what's going on.
You have to?
Well, yeah, Emily just lost her mom, and she's worried about losing the inn, and her guardian's all wet when it comes to helping out, and...
And the truth is, you are so curious that you feel like you'll absolutely burst if you don't find out why all these weird things have been happening, right?
Yes.
Don't worry, I know the feeling. You're a chip off the old block, I'm afraid. Well, as long as you're like me in one other way, you should be fine.
What way is that? Smart?
Careful. Good for you. That's a great way to meet people and to accumulate a little cash, which might come in handy. You're putting extra wear and tear on your car,
Yes, Dad.
What else have you been up to? Good. Remember, watch your gas gauge and get gas when you're low so you don't run out. And try to avoid potholes. The more you hit, the likely it is you'll wind up with a flat.
Yes, Dad.
And if you do get a flat, take it off and put on your spare, and then head straight to a gas station and get it fixed.
Yes, Dad.
Not a thing. Whatever's in writing is the only thing that counts, unless, of course, the will was tampered with or forged, and you can prove it. If not, you're out of luck. Why do you ask? Jim Archer. Yes, I remember him. Glasses, sort of short.
He's in banking now. In fact, he's Emily's banker. He said to say hi.
Jim Archer. How about that? Jim Archer. Yes, I remember him. Glasses, sort of short.
He's in banking now. In fact, he's Emily's banker. He said to say hi.
Are you suggesting Emily's banker was somehow responsible for the explosion? It's okay to have your suspicions, Nancy. But in a town as small as Titusville, it's very easy to alienate people. Until you know the facts, you'd be well advised to keep your suspicions to yourself. Wait a minute. Jim Archer is the one you suspect had a hand in that explosion at the Lilac Inn?
It was just a thought.
Are you suggesting Jim Archer was somehow responsible for the explosion? That's terrible. How do you know?
He told me, after first telling me he was doing just fine.
He lied to you? That's disturbing. You think he stole that jewelry? If that were the case, why would he tell you that he was going under? All his problems would have been solved.
Maybe it's not just him. Maybe he's working with someone.
Or maybe you're just barking up the wrong tree. A guardian is pretty much a surrogate parent. Jane is legally responsible for Emily's physical and financial well-being.
Jane doesn't strike me as being the parental type. In fact, I get the impression she's in way over her head.
Fortunately for her, it's not forever. Most guardianships end when the ward turns 18. And then both Jane and Emily will be free to do whatever they please. Things aren't always as they appear. Maybe she's not as bad as you think.
Or maybe she's worse.
Don't tell me you think Emily's guardian stole the jewelry. If she's Emily's guardian at the time of the sale, yes. Are you suggesting that Jane's primary motivation is greed? Good grief, where did you get such a suspicious mind?
I think it was from the person who has always told me that the best way to solve a problem is to look at all the possibilities, Dad.
I did say that, didn't I? Why?
She admitted to me that lately she's been hearing voices and seeing things move all by themselves. Jane thinks she's losing her marbles.
Running a restaurant is a big responsibility. Maybe it's getting to her.
Well, that's what Jane keeps saying.
Maybe Jane is right. Running a restaurant is a big responsibility. Maybe it's getting to her.
Well, that's what Jane keeps saying.
Maybe Jane's got her boots on after all. How did you do that?
It's a long story, but maybe somebody's been hiding there, whispering, and making things on the wall move. That would explain why Emily has been seeing and hearing things.
How did you do that?
It's a long story, but maybe somebody's been hiding there, whispering, and making things on the wall move. That would explain why Emily has been seeing and hearing things. And
those documents are very important, Nancy. And I'll feel much better when they're in your possession instead of sitting on someone's desk at Tubby Telegrams. So please...
I know. I'll pick them up right away.
See that you do. Goodbye, Nancy. How about we talk after you pick up those papers, okay?
Okay.
Great. You can give them to me tonight when you get home from Emily's. So what else have you been doing? Someone's deliberately trying to scare her? Why?
I don't know that.
Well, who else knows about that secret staircase?
I don't know that either.
Seems to me that would be a good thing to find out. Carefully.
Emily's neighbor, Josiah Crowley, told her and her mom that they were going to inherit part of his estate. But when he died, his will left everything to this ESP expert named Richard Topham.
That's too bad, but this Crowley fellow was free to leave whatever he wanted to whomever he wanted, I'm afraid. People do change their minds, you know. So Richard Topham could be the one who's trying to frighten Emily?
Or Jane Willoughby. I discovered the staircase because it was in this old photo I found on a shelf in the hostess stand she's always working at.
So Richard Topham could be the one who's trying to frighten Emily?
Or Jane Willoughby. Although when I confronted her about it, she denied everything.
Interesting. You're turning into quite a detective.
I just don't like not knowing things, that's all.
Very few people enjoy not knowing the truth, Nancy. But most people are content to let someone else uncover it. I'm proud of you. He's not just some sort of con man?
No, I think he's so good at convincing himself that he can read minds and move spoons that he has no problem convincing other people that he can.
Or perhaps it's a function of the clever Hans effect.
The what?
Or perhaps it's a function of the clever Hans effect.
Oh, I just read something about that.
Then, as you know, sometimes an interrogator will give involuntary visual and/or verbal cues in order to help another person arrive at the desired answer. Keep your eyes and ears open when you're around this Topham fellow. He may unconsciously tell you more than either of you realizes. Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it?
All I know is that he had a fascination with Shakespeare, especially A Midsummer Night's Dream, and that he had a habit of writing reminders to himself and leaving them all over.
Then you probably need to get in the habit of looking all over. Sounds like a good place to begin. I'm just suggesting that you be very observant, and if no one happens to be around while you're being very observant, all the better.
Hello?
Nancy?
Dad? Oh, shoot, I was supposed to call you.
Yes, you were. The phone company said this was the only line into the Lilac Inn now. What happened?
It's kind of a long story, but what about you? Is everything okay there?
Everything's fine. I called because I'd like you to run an errand for me, that's all.
Sure. What do you want me to do?
It ought to. That's a fine car. You treat it well, it'll treat you well. Listen, as it turns out, I just called there and left a message for you to call me.
You did?
Well, I'm glad you did. As it turns out, I just called there and left a message for you.
Really?
Keep in touch. Take care. See you tonight. Bye-bye. Of course I do. What do you need? First, think slang. Then, think about what word you're looking at and where it is in the box. Then, just plain think. The idea is to match up the pictures on the other side of the squares. So just keep flipping the squares over, 2 at a time, until you make a match. And keep doing that until you can't anymore. Take a good look around inside Crawley's house. Chances are he wrote down a reminder to himself about it. 2 words, angle and velocity, which means where you aim, that is, whether you hit the ball straight into the cup or bounce it off the wall at an angle, and how hard you hit the ball will determine whether or not the ball goes into the hole. The idea is to figure out what sequence the 4 symbols are supposed to go in. Just take a guess, see if you guessed any of the colors or their positions correctly. Take this feedback into consideration and guess again, and repeat the process until you guess right. You need to get the cuckoo out of the clock, and you can do that by rearranging the gears and clock parts until they're in just the right position. Just keep moving things around, you'll get it. It's waiting for you to enter the correct sequence of numbers by setting the clock hand, then pushing on the moon. As for what the sequence is, take a good look around the booth at the miniature golf course, and be on the lookout for 7 words that sound like numbers. You need to move the gears inside the clock around until they fit together properly. When one gear turns, they all should turn. As in most any Shakespeare play, the key word is relationships. Just remember that if you need to, you can reposition characters so that they act as obstacles for other characters. Keep your eyes peeled for the place where Josiah may have set them up, and then try to figure out why he set them up there. I'm sure you'll see the light. I suggest you put them together end to end, matching the ends according to the number of dots on them. Getting them properly laid out should cast that room in a whole new light. Try moving the mirrors and see what happens to that beam of light from the window. I suspect that having everything properly aligned will put a brand new spin on things. Richard Topham may have taken delivery of it after Josiah passed away. Why don't you check with him? Often what appears to be mind reading is simply a matter of listening, so listen carefully to what Topham says. He may actually be telling you what card he's holding up without even knowing it. As I mentioned before, the clever Hans effect may be at work. Very often what appears to be mind reading is simply a matter of listening, so listen carefully to what Topham says. He may actually be telling you what card he's holding up without even knowing it. Just follow the instructions and put the pies you're sure about in the correct slots. Then use reason to figure out what cities the pies that are left over go to. Try to keep the needle on the sewing machine moving along the line the first seamstress made. The more you stay on the line, the better. I'm no great shakes at fishing myself, but I do know that some fish are more likely to be found in certain areas of a pond than others, and that some fish are more partial to some types of bait than others, and that you might do well to take a good look in Josiah's carriage house. I have a feeling the solution is going to come creeping around the corner, and when it does, you do well to first listen for the effects sound has on an audience. Then look at the thing you put hot dishes on and match what you heard with what you see. Go to the parlor and catch up on your reading. Then give the radio dreamers their cues and listen very carefully.
Radio dreamers? What does that mean?
Sounds like you better go to Crowley's and catch up on your reading there too. As the bard once wrote, the play's the thing. The radio dreamers are the key. Give them their cues, then listen very carefully.
Radio dreamers? What does that mean?
Sounds like you'd better go to Crowley's and catch up on your reading. As the bard once wrote, the play's the thing. Chances are Josiah left it with a friend, and if that friend just happened to be someone's mother who tucked away what he gave her somewhere along with her other mementos, you just may be in luck. Just remember, sometimes to move forwards, you sometimes have to move backwards. Just one. Bank the ball, and you'll have it made. Be on the lookout for the typewriter it was typed on, and if you find it, take a good look at the ribbon. It could be a promotion for a scary radio show, and if it is, it probably includes a picture of someone or something standing in the moonlight. Think creepy. Why don't you try slipping in through that tunnel you found? If you're lucky, he'll be in one of those training sessions of his, and as long as you're quiet, he'll never know you're there. Look around in there, then try connecting the dots.
I'm afraid I don't have any money to tip you.
That's okay. Have a swell day. Hi, I've got a telegram for a counselor here named Alice.
That's me. Hang on. Oh, go dry up, Jason! What a jokester. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Hi, Alice. Is Counselor Ed around? He has a telegram.
I think he's down at the swim dock. I'll take it to him.
Thank you. Bye. Hi, Alice. I've got a telegram for Counselor Jack.
He's around here somewhere. Just give it to me. I'll get it to him.
Hi, I've got a telegram here for Jason.
That's my name. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye. Hi, Jason. Looks like you've got another telegram.
Lucky me. Thanks.
Thank you. Hello, Jason. I've got a telegram here for Alice.
I'll make sure she gets it.
Thanks. Hi, Jason. Do you know where Ed is? I've got a telegram for him.
I'll give it to him. I know exactly where he is.
See you later. Hi, Jason. Could you please give this telegram to Jack when you see him?
I'd be happy to. I just ran into him, so I know right where he is.
Hello, happy counselors.
Hello!
Hello!
What happened to Alice?
Nothing. I mean, she's unavailable. That's all.
Okay. Well, bye. I'm supposed to deliver this telegram to Dr. Bob.
That would be me. Thank you.
My pleasure. Dr. Bob, I've got another telegram for you.
Well, it seems I'm suddenly Mr. Popularity. Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Bob. I've got a telegram for Professor Randall.
I'll give it to him later. As you can see, he's a little busy at the moment.
Thank you. Bye. Dr. Bob, if Professor Randall still works here, I've got another telegram for him.
Yes, he still works here. He's out picking up another lens from the university, so I'll take that. He's a little busy right now cleaning up the professor's mess.
Bye. Hi, Dr. Bob. I have a telegram here for somebody named Woody.
Just leave that with me. I said carefully rotate it about 3 degrees to the left.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Dr. Bob. Woody got another telegram.
I'll take care of it later. Right now, I must make sure Professor Randall seats this new lens properly.
Hello.
I'm afraid we're closed to the public right now.
Okay, bye. Wow, that's a big telescope.
Come back after dark and I'll let you take a look. You can consider it your tip.
I may just do that. Bye-bye. What's he doing up there?
He's undertaking the very delicate task of cleaning the lens.
Uh-oh.
Randall! What have you done?
I'll be going now.
Randall!
See you, Dr. Bob.
Nancy, hi. Welcome to the Lilac Inn. Oh, and before I forget, thank you for that nice note you sent me when Mom died. It meant a lot to me. Hi, Nancy. Jane told you, didn't she? Just go back to River Heights, Nancy. I don't want to talk to you. You and I may not be best friends or anything, but you're still one of the nicest people I know. That's why I'm hoping you'll do me a favor, a big favor. You and your dad? Helen says he's a lawyer. I thought I heard something. See this jewelry? I was hiding it here in my room, but all things considered, I'd feel a lot better if you would just take it home and have your father lock it up in his safe. Oh, I don't want her to know I'm doing this, so don't tell her, all right? See, strange things have been going on around here. That's all I can say. I know it sounds loony, and Jane probably told you that I've been acting loony, but please do this for me. I knew something like this was going to happen. I just knew it. Yes. I'd rather not say, but I will say this. I did not leave the stove on. That fire was not my fault. Oh, what am I going to do? Without that jewelry, I don't have a prayer of paying for a new stove, and without a stove, I'll have to sell the inn, and if I lose the inn... I wish Mom were still here. I wish Josiah Crowley had left us the money like he always said he was going to. That's what I wish. He was this old man that lived next door. He died last year. He spent most of his time here at the inn, and he led my mom and me to believe that he'd left a lot of money for us in his will. He gave us a clock, and afterwards, he'd always point to it and get this little twinkle in his eye and say, "Time will tell." But when they finally found his will, he didn't leave us a penny. Oh, he didn't act like it, but he was rich. His estate was worth almost $250,000. Everything went to Richard Topham. He's this man who claims to be able to help people develop their paranormal powers. Josiah was kind of a screwball. One time he showed up at my birthday party dressed as my great-aunt Harriet. I didn't know it was really him until 2 days later. Anyway, he had all these weird hobbies, and he always thought it would be really keen to read minds. Josiah invited Richard Topham to move in so Topham could help him develop his paranormal powers right there in his house. Josiah was a sweet old man, and I do miss him, and he was free to give his money to whomever he wanted. But to get our hopes up like that, and then leave us nothing, it just wasn't like him. It didn't turn up for months. Then finally someone found it in a drawer in Josiah's house. No, he always said Mom and I were his family. He still lives in Josiah's house, which is right down the path out back. His house and the inn were built at the same time by 2 brothers during the Civil War. Gosh, I forgot about that. I don't know. Jim Archer, I bet he'd know. He's our banker. I guess I should go talk to him. Oh no, Mr. Archer's very nice. I mean, for a stuffy old banker. I'm just so bad at business things. And Jane, my guardian, she tries hard, but she's no good at it either. He runs the Main Street Bank. You can't miss it. I'll call him and tell him you're coming. No one. Well, Jane, my guardian, she knew, but I didn't tell anyone else. Lois. Why? Not anymore. When I was little, I used to play with Josiah. Sometimes he'd help me get par just so I could get something from the prize machine. You always won the same thing, just a different color. It was a little toy dog or something. Very cheaply made, and quite forgettable, obviously. Listen, I feel bad enough that you drove all the way out here for nothing. Maybe you should just go home. No, but I really don't feel like being sociable right now. There's nothing for you to do. What are you? Some kind of Sam Spade? The jewelry wasn't insured? Nothing. You mean he may have left us money after all? No, that's wishful thinking. And I refuse to get my hopes up again because they'll probably just get dashed again. No, but he was always hiding stuff. I know because he was always writing reminders to himself about how to find it. But whenever the subject of his will came up, he'd just say he was happy knowing we were going to be happy when he passed on. Time will tell. That's all he'd say. Yes. I don't know why he gave it to us. It's never worked, and nobody can open it to find out why. He could have hidden it anywhere. He always said his favorite hiding place was right under people's noses. That picture on the wall over there, last week, a book fell off the shelf for no reason. And before that, I heard these weird noises. And almost every day I hear a voice, like a whisper, coming out of nowhere. Jane thinks it's nerves, but I don't want to talk about this. Did you see Jim Archer? Marcel? Never. Look in the drawer right below me. That's where all Mom's mementos are. I took a nap after I got back from running errands, and when I woke up, this was in my hand. It doesn't matter. I can't run the inn anyway. I'm going to have to sell it. I must do things and not remember. All this responsibility on top of losing Mom. I can't cope with it. I'm having what'd Jane call it? A nervous breakdown. I don't want to talk anymore. Go home. You're just making things worse. Be my guest. Maybe you could go talk to him. Please? It would be such a big help. Your father has a safe, right? I'm going to have to sell the inn, aren't I? That was his favorite radio show. It's off the air now. But Josiah never missed a single episode. He even sent away for recordings of them. Josiah acted like more of a child than I ever did. At least, that's what Mom used to say. No. Why? Don't forget to call your father. Okay. Thanks again, Nancy. You're the best. You're the bee's knees. My mother's jewelry. It's gone. Oh, no.
Is this your sewing machine?
Actually, that belonged to my mom. She and Jane used to be dressmakers. Mom was going to teach me how to use it, but she never got the chance.
There's no needle.
It's probably in the box with the rest of Mom's sewing stuff. Ask Jane if she knows where it is. You don't need to look at everything in there, do you?
Sorry. Would it be all right if I used your sewing machine?
Go right ahead, but remember, you're on your own.
Would it be okay if I played a record?
Sure. I'd like you to take it home with you and put it in your father's safe.
It's beautiful.
It was my mother's. The few times I saw her wear it, she looked just like a movie star. Why are you listening to that?
Actually, I'm not sure.
Someone must have stolen it while we were all downstairs. It's one of the necklaces that I thought had been stolen. I have no idea how it got there. I saw it move. I was just sitting here and it moved all by itself. I saw it move. I really did.
This is Flute, but you sure don't sound like Puck, so explain yourself.
My name's Nancy Drew.
Flute here. That you, Nancy Drew?
Yes, it's me, and I think I know the Shakespeare passage that Puck wanted you to listen for.
Flute here. Hello, Nancy Drew.
I know that Shakespeare passage, really.
Let's hear it. So where's Puck?
Well, I'm pretty sure Puck's real name was Josiah Crowley, and I hate to say it, but he passed away earlier this year.
Ah, that's a shame. Heck, I never got to give him his sentence.
His sentence?
Well, see, a while back, Puck dictated a sentence to me and told me that if and when he recited a certain passage from Shakespeare, I was to respond with that sentence. Weird fellow, that Puck.
What sentence is that?
Well, see, a while back, Puck dictated a sentence to me and told me that if and when he recited a certain passage from Shakespeare, I was to respond with that sentence. Weird fellow, that Puck.
Could you tell me the sentence?
Oh, no, Puck made me promise. I can only say the sentence after I hear the passage from Shakespeare. Darned if I know.
What if I figured out the passage? Would you tell me the sentence then?
I suppose I could do that, yes. No, it's just what Puck insisted on calling me. What'd you say his real name was?
Josiah Crowley.
Strange. I never heard of him. I felt like I did. Met him over the radio a couple of years ago. What a character.
Why is that strange?
He led me to believe he was this big cheese out in Hollywood, some famous producer, director or something. Said he owned his own studio.
He didn't own a studio, and he certainly didn't live in Hollywood.
I'll be darned. So he was just lying to me. Well, that's all right. I may have told him a fib or three over the years myself. Like the time I told him I was a scratch golfer. I don't even know what that means. In any case, you tell me the passage, I'll tell you the sentence. Until then, over and out.
So if and when you hear a certain passage from Shakespeare, you're supposed to repeat a sentence that he dictated to you some time ago?
How'd you know that?
It's a long story, but do you think you could repeat the sentence for me?
I'd be glad to, just as soon as you repeat the right passage from Shakespeare for me.
But I don't know what it is.
Then I can't tell you. Sorry, but I promised Puck.
If I tell you the passage, will you tell me the sentence?
Well, yeah, sure, I guess. Especially seeing as Puck's no longer with us. That's it. Here, let me check my logbook for the response. Now I'm supposed to say, leave by road when the owner is in, because then there will be thieves about.
Leave by road when the owner is in, because then there will be thieves about?
Those were Puck's exact words.
Leave by road when the owner is in, because then there will be thieves about?
Those were Puck's exact words. Well, hope I've been of some help. Over and out. Let's hear it. I'm afraid that's not it. Better luck next time. Over and out.
What was that?
Ah! Emily, come downstairs, quick! The kitchen's on fire!
Come on, we'd better get out of here.
Emily, please, just settle down. It's all right. It's not all right. Stop lying. Something's wrong with me.
This is horrible, just horrible. I'm sure that sewing machine needle is in there somewhere.
I see it.
Well, hello. You talked to Emily yet? Talk to Emily, then talk to me. So, thanks for doing the pies. The more I do it, the worse I seem to get at it. Here's that box. You've got to go talk to Emily. She's in a bad way. Go talk to Emily, please. Did you talk to her? Do you see what I mean? What's cooking? Oh, Nancy. Well, I'll bet my bloomers you're Nancy Drew. I'm Jane Willoughby. Don't get me wrong, she can invite anybody here she wants. It's just that she's gotten so darn forgetful lately. Well, now that's hard to say. She misses her mom, that's for sure. So do I. Gloria and me, we were best friends, you know? The two of us ran this swell little dress shop over in Capital City. But then she got hitched and I didn't. And the next thing I know, she's writing me saying it would sure take a load off her mind if I could take care of her little girl should something ever happen to her. Died in the war. Cantigny, I think. Anyway, I couldn't say no. I mean, what are best friends for? I just wish I knew how to help Emily. She's been acting so... Look, go talk to her. She probably just needs to spend some time with a bear cat like you instead of some dumb Dora like me. Go on up, she's in her room. Just make like a Boy Scout and be prepared. The fire chief says the stove was completely destroyed and there's smoke damage everywhere. The inn'll have to shut down for months, maybe even for good. I asked the fire chief the same thing. He said there could be a problem. It looked to him like one of the burners on the stove had been left on. The flame either went out or was never lit, but anyway, something made a spark and boom. He said insurance companies are very reluctant to pay out when things look hinky, and that's when times are good. Emily was the last person to use the stove. Like I said, she's been real forgetful lately. I think she's pretty upset, but it's not her fault. What with her mom passing away barely a month ago, and me showing up, this total stranger who doesn't know the first thing about kids or running a restaurant, and her trying to do everything all by herself. It's just too much, that's all. Who wouldn't go a little off their nut? I better get that. The line to the regular phone got burned up in the fire, so now the only phone we got is the coin phone on the porch. Excuse me, is Emily all right? What? No. You mean someone stole it while everybody was rushing around trying to put out the fire? Hypers! If you can't trust a fireman, who can you trust? Positive. Well, I suppose someone could have snuck in the back door. Are you saying someone caused that fire on purpose? To distract us? But I'm the only one who knew she had that jewelry. Well, it's not quite true. When Gloria was alive, she could have told people about it, or people may have seen her wearing it. And when she died, they knew the jewelry had to be around here somewhere, right? Sorry. It's been hard enough getting to know Emily, let alone anyone else in this backwater burg. Well, guess better go call the sheriff. Yeah, I've had the displeasure of meeting that quack. The only thing he's good at is separating little old ladies and dim-witted rubes from their hard-earned cash. In fact, he came over while they were putting out the fire today. Asked me who you were, and I was so frazzled at the time I told him. I don't usually give that crackpot the time of day. Like that circus fella said, there's a sucker born every minute. Me? I think ESP is a lot of JUNK. Not everybody. My old rust bucket's parked out back where nobody'll see it. Be nice to buy something decent, but last time I checked, my last name was Willoughby, not Rockefeller. Emily says Josiah Crowley brought it in one day and just left it. Said it was so guests, as in him, would have something to do while they waited for a table. No, that was Josiah Crowley's. Way I hear, he built it himself. Nope, it was just his own private little course. Can you imagine? Wish I had money to throw around like that. Me? Please, I got better things to do with my time. Of course I do. It was... Oh, piffle. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It was... It'll pop into this feeble brain of mine one of these days. Why don't you just go ask Emily? I'm afraid there's been more trouble. It's Emily. Just go ask her and make her tell you everything. What did Emily say? Did she tell you about the pictures and the voices? For about 2 weeks, I guess. You know what? I'll bet it's me. I'll bet it finally hit Emily that I'm just not Gloria and I never will be, and that running this place is always going to be all up to her. And it was just more than her poor mind could bear. No, in fact, this place is so quiet and dull compared to Chicago that it's a wonder I haven't lost my mind. You know what? You betcha. And keep an eye out for those jewels. The sheriff's not going to investigate. He said since nobody got robbed at gunpoint or anything, coming out here again just didn't seem necessary. Said it sounded to him like the jewelry had just been misplaced. You see, it only felt fair to tell him about Emily's, delicate state of mind. Me? No, I can't. Sewing takes practice, and I haven't sewed a stitch in years. Whatever it is, believe me, I'd wreck it. No can do. Sorry. I moved all of Gloria's sewing things out of there and put them in a little box. Look, I'm supposed to get the pies we baked before all the hullabaloo this morning ready for the delivery man. They gotta be put in the shipping container just so, or he casts a kitten. Well, I'm all ears. Tell me. You mean the noises that Emily's been hearing? The things she's been seeing? It's because someone's been sneaking around behind the wall in her room? On purpose? Who would want to do something like that? No, and I've never heard Emily say anything about it either. You mean it was right there under my nose? Hold the phone! You think I'm the one who's been sneaking around? But I've never seen it before in my life. Besides, anyone who's ever been behind this desk could have seen that picture. It's hardly fair to go pointing a finger at me. Well, you're just trying to help Emily, so I guess I shouldn't get mad. She went into town to run some errands. At least that's what I told her to do. Heaven knows she could use some fresh air. Please, go talk to her. She won't listen to me. I'm no help at all. I never got the chance. No wonder I never saw or heard anything. It was all in her mind. Emily didn't say anything about you coming until just this morning. This is how he wants them organized. Now why don't you go out on the porch and get those pies ready to go while I look for that sewing box? I'm Emily's guardian, but only for the next 3 months until she turns 18. Then she's on her own. Remember, when it comes to using it, you're on your own, kiddo. Bye now. Don't take any wooden nickels. Alrighty-dighty. You betcha. Pies are the Lilacian specialty. We get orders from all over. Oh, that reminds me, your father called. You're supposed to call him. You can use the coin phone on the porch. You got it.